Think you know your cat? Think again. This is Furry Facts, where we dig into the weird, wonderful, and little-known truths about your feline friend. Cats are strange creatures. They show affection, but on their own terms. They rub against you, then bite your hand. They cry for food, then leave it untouched. They climb into your lap, then immediately leave when you shift an inch. And yet, we love them deeply. Even more strangely, we believe they love us back. But do they? Or are we just projecting human emotions onto creatures that never signed up for them? This isn't just a question about cats. It's a question about attachment. About what it means to be loved and what it feels like to not be sure. We ask, do they miss us when we're gone? Do they choose us or just tolerate us? Would they still come to us if we stopped feeding them? We don't ask because we doubt them. We ask because they're so hard to read. They don't wag their tails like dogs. They don't bark, bounce, or beg. They sit, they blink, they vanish. And in the silence, we wonder, let's get something straight. Cats are not pack animals. They evolved as solitary hunters. Unlike dogs who were bred to cooperate, bond, and follow, cats were bred to kill rodents. That's it. And yet here they are sleeping in our beds, meowing at our fridges, walking across our laptops during Zoom meetings. Why? Because while they can survive alone, they've figured out that living with humans comes with perks. Warmth, food, protection, affection on demand. But just because they benefit from us doesn't mean they don't care about us. Humans are emotional creatures. We need connection. We seek meaning. We interpret everything through our emotional lens. So when a cat curls up next to us, we call it love. When they blink slowly, we call it trust. When they bring us a dead mouse, we say it's a gift. But is it? Or are we simply assigning our meaning to their instinct? This isn't cynicism, it's curiosity. We want to understand them on their terms, not just ours. Let's pause. Before we ask if cats love us, we need to ask, what is love? In human terms, love often means emotional attachment, loyalty, affection, shared experiences, sacrifice, care. But for cats, love is not about grand declarations. It's about security, familiarity, and comfort. It's not fireworks, it's purring beside you without fear. Their love is quiet, instinctive, territory-based, bonded through routine, not words. And maybe, just maybe, that's real love too. Research has started catching up to what cat owners always suspected. Cats can form strong, secure attachments to their humans, similar to babies and dogs. In one study from Oregon State University, 65% of cats showed secure attachment to their owners. They sought comfort when their person returned. They relaxed more quickly. They displayed stress during separation. That's not using, that's bonding. But the difference? Cats are subtle. They don't throw themselves at you. They don't cry loudly when you leave. They wait quietly. But they feel. The most powerful thing about a cat's love is this: you can't force it. Cats don't fake affection. If they don't like you, they leave. If they feel unsafe, they hide. If they trust you, they stay close on their terms. So when a cat sleeps in your bed, shows their belly, needs your lap, follows you into the bathroom, watches you from across the room, purrs when you speak gently, that's not manipulation, that's a choice. They don't need your approval. So when they stay, it means something. Now let's be honest. Yes, your cat probably loves food more than you. Yes, they may meow just to get treats. Yes, they've learned to manipulate your schedule with precision timing. But here's the twist: that doesn't cancel out love. We do the same. We love people and enjoy their cooking. We bond and benefit. Love doesn't have to be selfless to be real. And in the feline world, survival and affection are not enemies. They coexist. Human beings are hardwired for connection. We thrive on touch, spoken affirmation, acts of service, gifts, shared experiences. We define love in gestures. Hugs, compliments, late-night talks. We seek loyalty, physical warmth, and clarity. If someone doesn't return our affection the way we expect, we feel rejected. We start to question their intentions. And that's where the problem with cats begins. Because cats don't love like that. Cats are creatures of boundaries. They were never bred to please us. They were not shaped by centuries of obedience like dogs. Instead, they are solitary by nature, territorial, steadily social, masters of emotional self-regulation. So when they express affection, it's not through obvious, exaggerated gestures. It's through presence, through non-interference, through choosing to share their space without obligation. They don't need to touch you constantly to love you. They just need to feel safe near you. And that, to them, is love. Let's break it down in human terms. There's a theory called the 5 love languages: words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now let's reframe that through a cat's behavior. Words of affirmation: they respond to your voice tone. Acts of service: right arrow, they bring you gifts, like socks or dead bugs. Gifts, right arrow, see above. Quality time: they sit near you, especially during your routines. Physical touch, right arrow, slow blinking, rubbing, gentle headbutts, kneading. The actions are different, but the intention, it's the same. They show love, just not the human way, not the way we wish they would, but in a way that's deeply true to who they are. Humans often chase love with intensity. We seek passion, drama, highs and lows. Cats do not. They value consistency, predictability, calm energy, emotional regulation. If you want to love a cat the way they'll understand it, you don't need roses or music, you need stillness, routine, a gentle voice, the patience to let them come to you when they're ready. You love a cat by creating a space they choose to return to every day on their terms. Here's where things get tricky. Humans often show love with hugging, kissing, lifting, constant petting, smothering, talking to fill silence. But to many cats, these are threats, traps, overstimulation, confusion. It's not that they don't love you. It's that they don't love being handled like a toddler. They prefer consensual closeness. They prefer mutual observation. They love you from the next cushion over until you earn a lap. And when they do sit on you, it's not because they were told to, it's because they decided to. And in cat culture, that's sacred, absolutely. But their attachment looks more like following you from room to room, sleeping nearby, waiting at the door, getting anxious when your routine changes, sniffing your clothes after you leave, yowling when you're gone too long, reacting to your stress with silence or sudden closeness. They attach, but they don't beg. They observe and they remember. In fact, some studies show that cats have a secure base effect, meaning they use you as a sense of safety and stability. Just like human children do with their parents. Here's what often happens. You pet your cat, they bite. You call your cat, they ignore you. You leave, they don't even look up, and you think, wow, cold. But cats operate on a different scale. Their bite may be overstimulation, not rejection. Their silence may be a form of trust, not indifference. Their distance may be their way of giving you space. They don't give affection to get a reaction. They give it because they feel safe enough to be themselves. There's one feline gesture that speaks volumes: the slow blink. It's not just cute, it's profound. In cat language, prolonged eye contact is a threat. So when a cat closes its eyes in front of you, even for a second, it's saying, I trust you, I know you won't hurt me. You can blink back, by the way, and when they blink again, you're having a full conversation without a single word, only trust. Let's go back, way back. Roughly 9,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, humans had just begun storing grain, and with grain came rodents. Cue the wild cats. They didn't come wagging their tails or begging for affection. They came hunting. They came quiet. And they came useful. Humans noticed. These sleek, solitary predators kept the pests away, so they let them stay. No leashes, no training, just silent mutual benefit. This was the beginning of the human-cat bond, not forced. Not bred, but chosen. Unlike dogs who were actively domesticated by humans, cats domesticated themselves. They were never meant to obey. They were never asked to guard or herd. They had no job description. And yet they evolved. Over time, the wildcat species Felis libica began to adapt to human environments. Bigger eyes, shorter flight distances, more vocalizations, increased sociability. Not because we shaped them, but because they found value in living near us. They learned to read us, they adapted to our rhythms, but they never fully surrendered their independence. They kept one paw in the wild. As agriculture spread, so did cats. In ancient Egypt, they became sacred. They were protectors of homes, symbols of grace, guardians of the afterlife. People mourned their passing. Laws forbade their export. And when a family cat died, the entire household would shave their eyebrows in mourning. That's not just utility, that's reverence. Later, cats spread to Greece, Rome, and Asia, hitching rides on ships and caravans, quietly becoming part of human history. Not as workers, but as observers, silent participants in the rise of civilization. But their mystery came with a price. In medieval Europe, cats were feared, associated with witches, bad luck, and the supernatural. They were persecuted, burned, erased, and yet they survived. Why? Because no matter how hard we tried to push them away, they kept returning to our granaries, our barns, our homes. The relationship was never one of dominance. It was always based on mutual need. They didn't need our affection, but they did need our spaces. And we, whether we admitted it or not, needed them. Today cats are meme kings, apartment dwellers, emotional support animals, internet celebrities, symbols of independence and mystery. But they're also still wild in small, quiet ways. They sleep where they want, eat when they want, come when they want, love you when they want, and we adore them for it, not because they obey, but because they don't. Their love feels more powerful. Because it's never guaranteed, they're not assigned to us. They choose us just like they did thousands of years ago. The bond between cats and humans isn't one of ownership. It's one of coexistence. Over generations, they've adapted to our homes, our smells, our rhythms. And we've adapted to their quiet, moody, beautiful nature. It's not a love story written in commands and tricks. It's a story written in blinks. Footstep, soft purrs in the night, waiting at the door when you've been gone too long, rubbing against your leg not because they have to, but because they want to. You can't understand your cat's behavior without understanding their history. They were never bred to obey. They were never trained to follow. The answer is simple. They never agreed to that system. They agreed to share your life, not surrender to it. They agreed to coexist, not conform. And somehow that makes their love even more meaningful. People often say cats are cold, uninterested, selfish, detached. But more often than not, this comes from misunderstanding their emotional boundaries. Cats aren't cold, they're cautious. Not because they can't love, but because they love from a place of control, not need. Their love isn't chaotic or clingy, it's deliberate, measured, earned. To understand a cat's heart, you have to understand their need for space. In the wild, solitude is protection. Solitude means fewer predators, fewer risks, fewer compromises. That instinct lives on in your house cat. They seek safety before affection. And if a situation feels unpredictable, noisy, or overstimulating, they'll retreat not because they don't care, but because they need to feel safe before they feel close. And sometimes that retreat into another room is the emotional equivalent of saying, "I'm still here." Cats are sensory sensitive. They feel everything changes in tone, shifts in body language, temperature, pressure, even your emotions. And when it's all too much, they move away. Not out of rejection, but out of emotional regulation. To them, love without space isn't love, it's entrapment. So if your cat leaves mid-petting session or avoids a hug, don't take it personally. They're resetting, so they can come back to you later calm and grounded. Have you noticed how your cat comes close, then leaves, purrs, then nips, follows you from room to room, but won't sit on your lap? That's the emotional push-pull of a cat. They want you, but they don't want to lose themselves. They trust you, but they protect their inner world. And honestly, don't we all? Cats remind us that real connection doesn't mean constant closeness. It means trusting the distance and still feeling bonded. Some cats love to be held, some don't. Some sleep on your face. Others sit quietly across the room watching. Both may be expressing love, because for cats, proximity is power. They don't need physical touch to feel connected. They just need to feel safe in your presence. So if your cat lies 5 feet away, glancing at you between naps, that might be their love language, space with awareness. Because with cats, it's not always about closeness. It's about freedom in connection. Unlike many dogs, cats don't demonstrate separation anxiety in loud, obvious ways. But that doesn't mean they don't feel it. They show it through subtle pacing, over-grooming, ignoring food, meowing at the door softly but insistently, waiting in your usual spot for hours. Cats become attached deeply, but they often hide the pain of absence just like they hide pain in illness. It's not a lack of emotion, it's an emotional coping strategy, one that values dignity over drama and self-regulation over outward distress. Humans expect love to be loud. Cats offer love in whispers. We miss their cues because we're looking for the wrong signs. We expect hugs, they give tail flicks. We want eye contact, they blink slowly, softly. We ask for closeness, they offer quiet shadowing from a distance. And in their silence, they're saying everything. They're not trying to be hard to read. They're just reading a different script. Here's the truth: cats need autonomy to feel safe enough to love. Their emotional health depends on having space to retreat, not being touched without consent, being allowed to choose when to connect. When you respect that, they become deeply affectionate, and when you don't, they shut down. Their love requires a gentle invitation, not control. Not force, but an invitation, and when they accept it, it's one of the purest expressions of trust you'll ever receive. We crave recognition. In relationships, we want clear signs. Hugs, kisses, affirming words, big emotional gestures. We want love to be obvious. So when our cats stay silent, look away, or walk off after 2 minutes of cuddling, we sometimes feel rejected. But the issue isn't that your cat isn't affectionate. It's that they don't speak the same emotional language you do. Purring is often seen as the ultimate cat affection cue, but the truth is it's more nuanced. Cats purr when they're content, they're seeking comfort, they're anxious, they're injured, they're healing, they're bonding with you, or sometimes when they're trying to calm themselves down. Yes, purring can mean love, but it can also mean need or self-soothing. So if your cat purrs in your presence, take it as a compliment. They feel safe enough to manage their emotions beside you. When a cat rubs against your leg, they're not just saying hello. Cats have scent glands in their cheeks, forehead, and chin. When they rub on you, they're leaving behind chemical signals. Markers of territory, trust, and comfort. They do this too. Furniture they like, spaces they own, other cats they trust, and humans they feel bonded to. It's not just routine, it's a ritual. It's claiming you in the most feline way possible. Pet, pet, purr, nip. Sound familiar? This is called petting-induced overstimulation. It happens when a cat enjoys the interaction until they suddenly don't. It's not aggression, it's sensory overload. Think of it like being tickled too long. It goes from enjoyable to unbearable in an instant. The bite is not a punishment, it's a boundary. Respecting that moment builds trust, ignoring it breaks it. Sometimes your cat will sit in the same room, but not look at you, not meow, not approach. It feels like indifference. But it's actually presence without pressure. In cat psychology, this is huge. They don't stay near what they dislike. They don't tolerate what they distrust. So when they're silently nearby, grooming, blinking, watching you from a distance, that's the connection. That's feline intimacy. They don't need to climb on you, they just need to be near you without fear. Cats don't usually maintain eye contact. In the wild, it's a sign of aggression or dominance. So if your cat looks at you calmly, blinks slowly, looks away, or mirrors your blinking, that's trust, that's softness, that's saying, I see you, I don't feel threatened. It's the feline version of a hug. No arms, just eyes, and still deeply powerful. If your cat follows you into the kitchen, into the bathroom, from room to room, it's not just curiosity, it's attachment behavior. They're emotional territory. They're not following you for food. They're following you because your presence regulates their nervous system. Yes, even when you're just brushing your teeth. Dead mouse, sock, random string, gross, maybe, but to your cat, this is a sacred offering. In the wild, cats often bring prey to share with kittens or packmates. It's instinct. But when your house cat brings it to you, it's layered with meaning. They trust you with their catch. They want to share what they value. They may even be trying to teach you like a mother to her kittens. It's weird, it's uncomfortable, and it's love. Wrapped in fur and teeth. The most important thing to understand is this: cat affection is subtle. It's often missed not because it's absent, but because it's quiet, understated, intentional. Your cat won't write you a poem. They won't throw you a surprise party. They won't wag a tail like a dog. But they'll do something more honest. They'll simply stay near you when they don't have to, when they could be anywhere else. That is feline loyalty. Cats have scent glands in their forehead, cheeks, chin. When your cat rubs their head against yours or gives you a little bump, that's called bunting. It's not just cute, it's a deep sign of trust and ownership. They're saying, you're mine. Cats don't headbutt what they fear, they only mark what they bond with. Kneading, often called making biscuits, goes back to kittenhood. It's what they did when nursing from their mother. So when they need your chest, your leg, or your favorite blanket, they're returning to that place of safety and comfort. They associate you with nourishment, warmth, security, home. Yes, it might hurt a little, but it's a powerful, instinctual sign of love. In the wild, cats don't sleep near what they don't trust. So if your cat sleeps at your feet, on your lap, by your head, curled near your chest, or even just beside you on the couch, that's not a convenience. That's deep, primal trust. They choose to let their guard down beside you because in your presence they feel safe enough to rest. And there's no greater compliment from a cat. We've touched on it before, but it deserves more time here. The slow blink is one of the clearest signs of feline affection. In cat language, it says, I trust you, I feel calm with you. If you slow blink back, gently and without pressure, you're returning the sentiment, you're speaking their language. And often they'll blink again, as if saying, I heard you, I understand. Chapter 6, showing their belly and not always wanting pets. The belly is the most vulnerable part of a cat's body. It's an invitation for peace, not always for petting. So when your cat rolls over and exposes their stomach, don't rush to touch it, just sit near, blink slowly, and let them decide. The trust has already been given, don't rush it. It's easy to miss, especially if it's quiet, but if your cat waits at the door, appears when you come home, weaves around your legs, meows in soft acknowledgement, they're saying you were gone, I noticed. Even if they seem nonchalant, it matters. Because in their world, your presence has become part of their emotional rhythm. Cats often mirror the behavior of those they trust. If you sit down and they settle, talk softly and they purr, yawn and they yawn too, blink and they blink back. That's the connection, that's rapport. They're syncing with you, not out of instinct, but out of bonded comfort. But that phrase carries an assumption that dogs are the default for affection, and cats are the exception. The truth, cats can be just as emotionally attached as dogs, but they express it differently. It's that they're showing us the range of feline love. Not all cats are aloof. Some are highly social, incredibly cuddly, always underfoot, playful and outgoing, exceptionally vocal. This has a lot to do with breed, upbringing, socialization, human energy, attachment style, and yes, personality. Just like humans, cats have a wide emotional spectrum. Some are introverts, some are extroverts, and some are snuggly comedians in fur. Let's explore a few breeds often described as dog-like in affection. 1. Ragdoll. Gentle, floppy, affectionate. They often follow you around, crave cuddles, and go limp in your arms, hence the name. 2. Siamese. Vocal, intelligent, deeply bonded to their humans. They're expressive, emotional, and don't like being left alone for long. 3. Maine Coon. Massive in size, gentle in heart. Maine Coons are often playful, affectionate, and form strong bonds with their families. 4. Abyssinian. Active, curious, people-oriented. They may not be lap cats, but they want to be involved in everything you do. 5. Sphinx. Without fur, they rely on closeness for warmth. But they also tend to have very affectionate, attention-seeking personalities. Of course, any breed or mix can form strong bonds. But these breeds are often known for their open-hearted, human-oriented behavior. One of the most important factors in how bonded a cat becomes is how they're raised. Cats who are handled gently as kittens, experience positive human contact early, are raised in emotionally consistent environments, have access to play, touch, and communication, often become more trusting, emotionally expressive companions. The bonding doesn't always come from genetics. It often comes from safety and early emotional attunement. Sound familiar? That's true of humans too. Yes, some cats love to fetch. They bring back bows, hair ties, stuffed toys, crinkled paper. They're not doing this to be dogs. They're doing it because they're engaged, stimulated, responding to your energy, seeking shared activity. They're showing that play can be mutual, that they trust you with the most sacred thing in their world. Their favorite toy, shadow cats, bathroom buddies, lap inspectors. These cats are everywhere you are. Are they needy? Maybe, but more than that, they're bonded. They've formed an attachment to you that feels secure enough to follow. They don't need your constant attention. They just want to be near your rhythm, to exist in the space that holds you. When we say, "My cat acts like a dog," what we're often expressing is surprise. It's cat-like at its most trusting. They're not mimicking dogs. They're just revealing how much emotional depth a cat is capable of. When we give them space, love, and time, cats don't make a scene when you leave. They don't howl or scratch at the door like a dog might. They don't panic in plain sight. But cats process your absence differently. Their reactions are internal, subtle, spread over time, hidden and routine changes. They may not perform distress, but they feel your absence deeply in their own quiet way. Studies and cat behaviorists have noted that when bonded cats are left alone, they may stop eating normally, groom themselves excessively, vocalize more when you're gone or upon your return, sleep in your spot, knock things over not from spite but from restlessness, sit by the door for extended periods, display more clingy or aloof behavior when you return. These aren't just quirks. They're emotional responses. Your cat is adapting to the emotional vacuum left behind. But independence doesn't mean indifference. In fact, many cats are deeply attached. They just don't rely on loud expressions to show it. They miss you. Through disrupted habits, through watchful waiting, through pacing the hall, through increased vocalization at your return. They may not need your constant attention, but they crave your predictable presence. Feline separation anxiety is often misunderstood. It doesn't always manifest like in dogs. It can look like hiding, hyperactivity, aggression toward other pets, compulsive behaviors, bathroom accidents, overattachment when you're back. Some cats even develop a habit of sleeping in your belongings, your clothes, your scent to feel closer to you. These are not random behaviors, they're emotional coping mechanisms. Your absence creates emotional turbulence. Even if it's not expressed in human terms, when you return, pay attention. Does your cat follow you into the next room? Vocalize in short, direct meows, rub against you repeatedly, lead you to their food or toy, sit close but not on you. These are reunion cues. Your cat isn't just re-establishing routine. They're saying, "You're back, I noticed." Sometimes they might seem distant at first, but that's often their way of testing emotional safety again. They want to reconnect on their terms. Cats remember smells, sounds, routines, feelings associated with people. They know your step, your schedule, your scent. When you leave for a trip or a long workday, they don't forget you. They remember how your presence shaped their environment. And when that pattern breaks, they feel it. The emotional imprint you leave doesn't vanish in your absence, it lingers. If you're often away, here are ways to help. Leave an item of clothing out with your scent. Keep their feeding play routines as consistent as possible. Use interactive toys to reduce boredom. Consider a window perch to provide distraction. Play calming music or use pheromone diffusers. Spend quality time reconnecting when you return. You don't need hours. You just need intention. To say, "I see you, I'm back." We're taught that cats are loners, unlike dogs who evolved in packs. Cats, we believe, evolved in isolation, but that's only half true. While domestic cats are descended from solitary hunters, they've shown a remarkable ability to form social groups, especially when food is abundant or the environment is stable. In colonies and on farms, cats form friendships, alliances, maternal bonds, even shared childcare. So no, they aren't wolves, but they're not heartless hermits either. In feral colonies, cats express love through allogrooming, grooming each other's faces and necks, sleeping curled together in the cold, sharing resources, rubbing faces as greetings, protecting kittens in communal groups, mourning lost companions. None of this is about dominance. It's about emotional survival. Affection helps feral cats reduce stress, strengthen social bonds, increase chances of protection, raise emotionally secure offspring. The wild doesn't remove love, it simply reshapes it. A mother cat is fierce, protective, tender, completely devoted, at least at first. She grooms constantly, responds to every cry, warms her kittens with her body, brings food, teaches survival. And when kittens grow, she slowly steps back. That's not coldness, that's instinctual detachment for independence. Even still, some adult cats remember their mother or siblings, and if reunited, will often rekindle bonds through scent and touch. Cats may separate, but deep connections imprint beneath the surface. Male cats in the wild are often seen as territorial and solitary, but even that's changing. In some outdoor colonies, neutered male cats form alliances, share grooming, sleep near bonded friends, even help raise kittens that aren't theirs. Bonding then is not about gender. It's about trust and emotional safety. When those are present, even a lone male cat can become a nurturer. So how does all this affect your house cat? Well, every time they rub against you, sleep by your feet, groom your hairs, follow your voice, meow when you're sad, wait by the door, they're tapping into wild instincts of affection, refined and reshaped by domestication. You're a bonded creature in their chosen circle. In the wild, affection serves survival. In the home, it becomes symbolic. Cats don't fake love for gain, they don't perform. If they rub against you, if they purr in your presence, if they sit near you when you cry, it's not for food or shelter. They could survive without those gestures, but they choose to offer them. Because for all their wild wiring, your cat has learned what so many creatures do. The strongest survival instinct is connection. You pour their food, you clean their litter box. You rearrange your life around a 10-pound animal who ignores you 60% of the time. To outsiders, it looks absurd. To cat people, it's devotion. There's an old joke, dogs have owners, cats have staff. But behind the humor lies something else, a dynamic as ancient as time. One that feels like control. But it is a mutual influence. In some ways, yes, cats meow primarily for humans, not for each other. They've adjusted their vocal pitch to sound more like crying babies. They know that certain behaviors, sitting on laptops, nuzzling your leg, laying on your book, get a response, they've learned to push just the right emotional buttons. And we respond with snacks, affection, attention. It's easy to believe we've been played. But what if it's deeper? Modern research shows that the cat-human bond is mutual. They study us. We study them. They adjust to our moods, routines, even our emotional wounds. They seek out those who treat them gently, those who provide predictable affection, those who offer warmth, safety, and space. And they return that love. In blinks, brushes, purrs, and presence. We don't train each other, we mirror. The connection isn't one-sided, it's quiet reciprocity. Cats mourn the loss of humans they're bonded with. They sleep in their owner's clothes. Search the house. Show lethargy or distress. Vocalize in confused tones. Stop eating. This grief is not performance. It's not manipulation, it's a loss felt in silence. Proof that what we gave them wasn't just food and shelter, but presence, family, love. Recent studies show that cats form secure attachments to humans just like babies do. They recognize human faces and voices. They adjust behavior based on emotional tone. They show preference for human interaction over food in some cases. That's not manipulation. That's the connection. They don't just tolerate us. They bond with us deeply and specifically. Maybe cats have trained us, or maybe they simply offered love so mysterious, so different from our own, that we had to learn a new language, just to keep up. And in doing so, we softened, we slowed down, we sat still long enough to see the world from the floor, from the sunbeam, from the perch by the window. We became more present, more patient, more curious. Maybe they didn't train us. Maybe they taught us. In a world full of noise, be like your cat, soft, curious, and quietly wise. Until next time, stay gentle. They may never speak your language, but they'll always understand your heart. Thanks for watching, and give your cat an extra blink from me.